It's the Real News Network. I'm Gregory Wolpert coming to you from Quito, Ecuador. The German parliament, the Bundestag, is promoting a resolution to combat anti-Semitism. This Saturday is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is a good opportunity to discuss what kind of measures the Bundestag considers appropriate to counter the spread of anti-Semitism and other forms of racism in Germany. However, the resolution that the Bundestag is considering is focused more on the state of Israel than on Germany. In addition to proposing an appointed commissioner in charge of anti-Semitism, it defines critique of the state of Israel as a form of anti-Semitism, especially the burning of the Israeli flag. Finally, immigrants who oppose the right of the state of Israel to exist would face the possibility of deportation. Last month, the president of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, spoke about the protests against Israel.
Those who set the Israeli flag on fire in German streets do not just demonstrate unbearable hate towards Israel, but they also don't understand, or at least don't respect, what it means to be German. In such instances, the German state is particularly challenged and must act where necessary.
Auch besonders gefordert, sich mit Klarheit zu bekennen und auch einzuschreiten, wo es notwendig ist.
Joining me to discuss the Bundestag's anti-Semitism law is Annette Grothe. Annette is a former member of the Bundestag for the Left Party, Die Linke. She was a member of the Parliamentary Commission on Migration, Refugees, and Displaced Persons of the Council of Europe. Welcome to the Real News, Annette.
Hello.
So the bill has already received support from a large majority in the Bundestag, but it hasn't been passed yet. Explain to us what the process is, and especially now that Chancellor Merkel still hasn't formed a coalition yet. What's the next step? Will it be passed?
Yes, definitely, because the motion has been adopted by the vast majority. It was only the Left Party that abstained. The left did not reject it, but abstained in the voting, and now it is then being transformed. That will take some time into law, into legislation. Yeah. And well, I consider this motion very, very dangerous, as you said. It is, you know, the risk for foreigners, refugees, is that when we are going together on the streets protesting against massive human rights violations in Israel, and then, you know, we always shout some slogans, but I mean, stop the killing, stop detention of minors and all these kind of things, and stop human rights violations. So if this then being interpreted as anti-Semitism, then there is something very, very wrong. And people could be detained and deported and lose their right to stay and their entitlements here in Germany. This is, of course, a real big danger and threat. And it is a blow to all the peace-loving Palestinians and other refugees from wheresoever we have. And it is also for Germans, you know, dangerous, because anti-Semitism is then mixed with critiques against the Israeli government or Israeli state. So the whole thing is just awful. And it was our Minister for Justice who said, whoever is burning a flag is burning our values. Well, this is, I say, okay, whoever is deporting Afghan refugees to Afghanistan in these times, they are burning our values.
So during a debate that Chancellor Angela Merkel had before the elections, the chairman of the Social Democratic Party, Martin Schulz, used the term reason of state, Staatsräson, which Merkel has also used before him with regard to Germany's position towards Israel. What does it mean in this context, a reason of state? And does it mean responsibility towards the people of Israel, the Jews, who were victims of the Holocaust, or is it targeted towards the state of Israel, which is actually a major arms trading partner of Germany?
Yes, it is concerning the relationship to Israel, including the Jewish people, the inhabitants. I think so. I have really difficulties in understanding what is Staatsräson in this sense. And I never use this. This is a special, as I always call them, special responsibility we have because of our past. But I mean, we also have the responsibility towards the Jewish people who are protesting against their own government daily, and also get punished. And some of them are getting, real threats and are being beaten up, and so on and so on. So for me, as any nation, and there is a very heterogeneous people. I mean, I'm not fond of my own government because I'm leftist, yeah, and so the leftist people do not like the Israeli government at all. The biggest critical voices is Gideon Levy, Amira Hass. They are publishing articles in Haaretz that you could hardly publish in Germany, I think. So, I mean, that the whole thing is we always are confused with state, the Israeli government, state, and the religion, being Jewish or not Jewish. So, and this is for me also a big mistake.
Recently, German politicians have also expressed the view that refugees from the Middle East, especially from Syria, bring anti-Semitic ideas with them to Germany. And so this proposed bill suggests that immigrants and refugees do not have the right to be anti-Semitic, but white Germans can be as anti-Semitic as they want. At least that's the implication, because the immigrants can be deported. Explain to us how this idea developed that anti-Semitism is currently being imported to Germany.
Yeah, I guess this is only because of they do not want so many refugees in our country. Let's be honest about it. And our government needs to have an excuse. How many could we deport? Yeah, and this is a very dangerous and perfid stipulation now, mixing, being, rather say it bluntly, okay, we do not want the people from Morocco or Tunisia or Syria, get them back, but mixing it now with anti-Semitism, and this is a growing anti-Semitism in Germany due to refugees and migrants, is complete nonsense and very dangerous as well. These, I know many of them, they are so occupied with their own problems and situation in their home countries. I mean, most of these people, I have never met somebody who's really bluntly anti-Semitism, but you said it rightly, there are lots of white Germans, bio-Germans, we cannot deport them, who have this feeling of anti-Semitism. So, and 90% of the violence against Jewish, of anti-Semitic violence and gestures and signs are from the right wing, from right-wing Germans. So, last year, a report of anti-Semitism in Germany was published, and it says, like all the other scientific research, anti-Semitism violence and also attitude has not grown, but in the contrary is diminishing, is getting smaller. In contrast to violence and Islamophobic attitude and outbreaks and also physical violence. So when it came to this motion now that we need a special rapporteur for anti-Semitism, I said, and like many of my Jewish friends, by the way, as well, no, it's rather we need a rapporteur, special envoy in English, for racism. Yes. This is because nearly daily, or daily we had it, until recently and still today, violent attacks against refugee homes, against foreigners, migrants, refugees. So this is a reality.
Okay, well, we're going to have to leave it there for now. I was speaking with Annette Grothe, a former member of the German Bundestag for the Left Party. Thanks, Annette, for having joined us today.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And I'm Gregory Wilpert for the Real News Network.